All right, we're now going to transition to our second general session of the day. If you've not already done so, there should be a postcard-sized survey on your tables. It tells you how to go to an online survey. So there should be a postcard-sized survey on your tables. I want to remind you to participate in that for the session later today with Johns Hopkins University. What's great about this summit is the opportunity to spotlight the bright spots in our states where positive early childhood investments are being made, and even more importantly, where businesses are stepping up to invest in and support the families that employ their young children. Jim mentioned that we need public sector investment in this area, but frankly, we need private sector investment in this area. As many of you may remember, 2 years ago, I said that the challenge was for all of you was to actually grab a friend that was in the private sector and drag them here so that we can convert them and let them know what they're missing out on. So this year, we're particularly excited to highlight the great work at Credit Union One and their employer investments and the benefits that they have experienced related to early childhood education. To introduce this session, please join me in welcoming to the stage the State of Alaska Department of Education and Early Development Deputy Commissioner Karen Melin. Welcome, Deputy Commissioner.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a privilege to be here, and I thank Stephanie and her team for allowing us to be here. It's an honor to partner with Thread to put on this summit. As Jonathan said, my name is Karen Melin. I married a Swede, so I have a name that looks very different than how you pronounce it. I serve as the Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Education and Early Development. What I really am is a teacher. And I began my career as an early childhood education major in college. The early part of my career was spent in preschool classrooms where the chairs were very small and squares with letters and numbers around them in my room. I learned so many things during that portion of my career that has served me to this day. The work is not a whole lot different. The people are just a lot bigger. So one of the things that I learned is that you can't have your students sitting in chairs and listening for very long. And you have been so patient to do that. So what we're going to do is move. And I'm going to teach you a little song that I used to sing with my preschool students, and there's actions that go along with it. So prepare yourself to move and learn a new little song. It goes like this. There once was a mighty king who had 10,000 men. He marched them up a hill, then marched them down again. And when they're up, they're up. And when they're down, they're down. And when they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down. And every time that we say up, you're going to stand up out of your chair. And every time that we say down, you're going to sit down in your chair. Okay, are we ready? And everyone's going to sing with me, right? Okay, here we go. There once was a mighty king who had 10,000 men. He marched them up a hill, then marched them down again. And when they're up, they're up. And when they're down, they're down. And when they're only halfway up, they're neither up nor down. Very good. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. So I hope we all feel a little better and are ready to launch into our next session. And this is a particularly exciting session for me to introduce because as an early childhood educator, challenged with the earning challenges that come with that field, more than 35 years ago when I started in the profession. And for those of you who are doing the math, I was 12 when I began. We are going to have an opportunity later to hear some very positive things that are happening in the world of early child care, early child development, partnerships with private and public sectors. And as a part of the Department of Education and Early Development, as for this part of the Department of Education and Early Development, I am an early development advocate. I believe in what happens in those early years, set the path and the launching pad for what happens in the K-12 experience. At the Department of Education, we have a mission and a vision, and our vision is that every student, every child, gets a quality education every day. And our mission is once students leave our time in the public education system, they are successful in their education and work, whatever it is they decide to do, that they can shape worthwhile and satisfying lives for themselves, that they exemplify the very best values of society, and that they're effective in improving the quality and character of the world about them. These are the kind of people that we want to see living in and among us. And I believe those kinds of people begin at the very earliest part of their lives. So it's my privilege to introduce this portion of the day in which we will honor Credit Union 1 for their work in improving the world of early childhood education. We'll hear from 3 speakers, watch a little video, and then have follow-up with questions and answers. Our speakers today are Stacy Ammerman, Credit Union 1 Human Resource Manager, Anna Castillo, Little Ones, and it's a 1 with an apostrophe. I love that kind of stuff. Little Ones Learning Center Site Manager, and Cassie McGuire, the Credit Union 1 Member Services Support Manager, and a Learning Center program. So please join me in celebrating the family-friendly work provided by Credit Union 1 in this portion of our day.
Good morning. First, we'd like to thank Thread for giving us the opportunity to come and talk with all of you guys about our wonderful center and about Credit Union 1. I'd like to start first by introducing a video that our past CEO, Leslie Ellis, did. She not only is she our past CEO, but she also remains as a consultant for the board at Credit Union 1. And she is the founder, or as my staff likes to say, the mother of the credit union. It was her vision to have the Learning Center.
We're inspired to start the Childcare Center in part because of my personal background. I would have, if the term existed, I would have been a latchkey kid. I was raised by a single mother of 5 and I was the oldest. And I know how hard it was for my mom to deal with the childcare. And then when I started working with the workforce at Credit Union 1, and I saw their struggles, and I saw potentially really good employees who potentially could have had a high-paying career here drop out of the workforce because they didn't have access to childcare. I thought, well, as the credit union grows and we get larger and more sophisticated, we need to figure out a way to solve this problem and make it better for them. The more I learned about the licensing requirements, I realized that we really needed to have control over the space to do it the way I wanted to do it. And so in 2003, we began planning for the headquarters building of Credit Union 1. I took a big leap of faith and had a child care center designed into it. And we opened this new building at Abbott Road in 2005. The child care center opened in May of 2006. I had made a decision early on that we needed accredited employees, that we weren't going to just pay lower-end employee wages. So we had a whole initiative to incorporate our Credit Union One Learning employees into our wage and benefit schedule, which the unintended consequence was that some of the providers in town had to increase their wages to childcare providers because we became new in the marketplace, and if you had the right accreditations, we were willing to pay you to do that. And then we incorporated all of those employees into our culture and into our Credit Union One way of doing things. What you hear when you open a child care center like this is, well, what about all your other employees? Because Credit Union One has employees from Nome to Ketchikan and every place in between. So it's like, well, is it really fair that the Credit Union One employees in Anchorage have access to this wonderful child care center, but your other employees don't? Well, that's a valid concern, and it needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, for our other locations, it's just not economically feasible to build a center. However, what we've done is the employees are paid a differential to cover some of their child care costs. They have to be in a licensed center, but we have developed a formula where they get child care reimbursement to make up the difference. So we haven't left the other employees out of the equation. They get child care assistance. And I can recall several instances where we were in negotiations with a potential employee who had other offers, where it didn't come down to wage, it came down to the culture of Credit Union One and the child care center, and the comfort that a family knows that this is one thing you can cross off your list that you don't have to worry about. It's nice to be known for something really good that helps support families.
So, as mentioned, my name is Anna Castillo. I work for Providence Health and Services Alaska, but I'm contracted through Credit Union One to manage the daily operations of their learning center. It's been so wonderful to work for Credit Union One and seeing the steps that they take to invest in the learning center and to invest in their workforce. And it's just been a blessing to watch all the employees' children grow and develop. So I get the pleasure to introduce to you Credit Union One's Little Ones Learning Center. We are a facility that offers care for children from 12 months and independently walking through 3rd grade with our before and after program. We are a program that's open at 6:30 in the morning all the way to 8 o'clock at night. We do those hours so that we can make sure that we're accommodating and meeting the needs of all our families in their work schedules. We have roughly about 30 children that are enrolled within our program, and I have about 9 staff that work within our programs with these young children. In the early care and learning fields, we talk about the importance of quality care for younger children. We talk about the importance of partnership with families. We talk about having knowledgeable and skilled teachers in the workforce, and the connection of quality early care and learning to school readiness and success later in life. Research shows that 90% of a child's brain development happens before the age of 5. The quality of the brain architecture is influenced by these early learning experiences. There's an importance to providing a solid foundation for children to develop to their fullest potential. That foundation includes having high quality environments. It includes having nurturing and responsive adults and relationships with children and families. And it includes having positive learning experiences for all children. Credit Union One Little Ones Learning Center is committed to providing that high quality childcare, and the educational experience is possible. And the way we do this is through the investment that Credit Union One does for the Learning Center, and that's by providing a safe, healthy, and developmentally appropriate learning environment for our children, through professional preparation and development of our early childhood educators, through supporting our early educators in and out of the classroom in their daily work that they do with young children, by partnering with the community on quality and family initiatives, and partnering with our parents in providing the most optimal climate in which their children can grow to their fullest potential. As Leslie has mentioned in the CU1 video that we just saw, The Learning Center opened its doors in 2006. It was in 2007 that the Learning Center became nationally accredited through the National Association for the Education of Young Children. We continue to maintain that accreditation, and we feel that it's very important being accredited. Programs that are accredited are required to meet standards that are grouped into 10 different areas. The areas focus on curriculum, relationship, teaching, assessment of child progress, health, staff competency and preparedness and support, our families, community relationships, physical environment, and program leadership and management. The accreditation process requires us to do a lot of reflections and to put together continuous improvement plans to maintain that accreditation. C1 Learning Center has also participated in many initiatives throughout Alaska. Some you guys may know, some you may not. Those include our Strengthening Families, the Alaska Pyramid Partnership, and now Learn and Grow, Alaska's Quality Recognition and Improvement System, QRIS. There have been policies, procedures, and practices that we've put in place to provide support for the children, staff, and families of the Learning Center that were a result of participating in these initiatives. We felt that a lot of the policies and procedures and even the support that C1 has given to the Learning Center, whether it's financially or support for the teachers, in these areas are very important for our families, our staff, and our children. So the Alaska Pyramid Partnership is promoting social and emotional competence for young children. As part of that, it was a 4-year program that we went through. We had the opportunity to put together or go through the benchmark of quality within our program to see our strengths and areas where we may need to up our quality of care that we offer for our families and children. One of the positive things that came about from doing the Alaska Pyramid is CU1 has invested in having an internal coach within our program. And the job of that internal coach is to work with our staff as they receive designated one-on-one time reflecting and working with the coach on classroom strategies and support plans. I have seen such a great outcome for my teachers on being able to have that support not only in the classroom but outside, and being able to do that reflective on their practices that they have every day with children when they're interacting. Strengthening Families focus on 5 protective factors that help families to succeed and thrive. The Learning Center plans and implements with our families parent cafes. These parent cafes at first were led by our teachers, and the topics were raised by what parents wanted to talk about or know more about. We've gotten to the opportune time now where our parent cafes are not only led by our teachers, but we always have a parent who also co-leads with them. Our goal is to eventually have it where it's a completely parent-led cafe within our organization. For our families, they get to come together and discuss matters that are important to them. The hopes are that these discussions and the activities can build up these protective factors and strengthen our families. Learn and Grow guides practices and helps early childhood learning programs to achieve high quality. One of the things that was a blessing for my teachers is they had the opportunity to go through trainings to learn the ITER's and ECHR's environmental rating tools. My teachers are perfectionists. They always want to score the highest score that they can get on those things, on the rating scale. But it's a great opportunity for, we get the privilege of having Thread come in and do these observation tools with our teachers. And they also get to do self-reflections on their environment, their actual materials and their interactions, and their intentional teaching. And what I find that they use these tools a lot within their environment to really look at their environment and how they are presenting the materials that they're using in the room and how they're doing their intentional teaching. And they're continuously making improvements to enhance that quality of care that they offer for families. Professional development and preparation of our early childhood educators is very, very important to us. Having teachers and caregivers that have knowledge through higher education and training in working with young children helps them to understand the developmental domains and how to plan materials and how to plan activities and interactions that promote learning among those domains of cognitive, emotional, social, and motor. An understanding of child development also helps the teachers, caregivers in assessment and also identifying areas of concerns that may need further assessments or outside referral services. CE1 has really invested in this area for their professional preparation and development of their early childhood educators. They have put together what's called a career ladder. We have linked each of the steps of the career ladders to the actual SEED registry. And within those areas, teachers are able to, a starting area for us would be a teacher assistant. They're able to advance into an associate teacher position. From there, they can go into a lead teacher, a lead 2, a lead 3, a mentor, and then into a leadership role. They're not sustained into their position hoping that a position opens up that they can apply into. They continue to progress through this career ladder as they meet certain educational and experience requirements. And we really encourage them to continue advancing through their career ladder. Professional development time is given to all our teachers. It's given on a monthly basis. It's a time for our teachers to be able to have time out of the classroom to reflect on their practices, to look at their classroom goals, and then not only that, but to be able to use that time to maybe do homework or assignments that they have for college, to be able to complete online trainings that they need to complete. It's an opportune time for them to do, of course, licensing trainings and so forth. But it's time that's out of the classroom that's given to the teachers to help further them professionally. CU1 also invests in sending their employees to the Anchorage Association for the Education of Young Children Conference every year. They pay for their membership, they pay for the conference fees, and they pay for their time to be there. On top of that, CU1 does have where they do tuition reimbursement for their employees. So if they're attending higher education trainings in the field or fields that are associated with the credit union, that they will reimburse them for a class each semester. They also cover their CPR and first aid trainings for them. Collaborative team meetings are given for teachers outside of the classroom. And so team meetings are done on a monthly basis. It's a time for the whole teaching team for each of our age groups to be able to come out of the classroom and to be able to talk about upcoming events, to talk about children guidance plans, to talk about children's assessments, classroom goals, and so forth. It's meant to be very reflective, a very collaborative experience for them. And not only that, but it helps them to really reflect on what they're doing every day with the young children in the classroom. Credit Union invests in giving the teachers curriculum planning at least 1 time a week, portfolio time that's given at least every other week. And a portfolio is basically a collection of child's work in progress while in the Learning Center. This gives them time to come out and do observation notes, photos, artwork, writing samples, put them all together. Our portfolio also has our assessment tools that we use when we're assessing young children too. So it gives them time out of the classroom to be very reflective on taking all this information and seeing where each child is developing. Credit Union 1 also encourages their employees to be involved in the community. We've established and maintained partnerships with different organizations within the community, and so for our teachers, they're given the opportunity to actually do different types of volunteers work with different organizations within the community, but they're also encouraged to participate in boards and committees that focus on early care and learning. And if it's during their work time, they're actually paid for their time that they're there. And if it's on during an evening time that's outside of their work time, after they've accumulated so many hours, they're able to get what we call reward points. And those reward points can be cashed in for days off with pay. We view high-quality childcare as a partnership with our families. We establish and maintain collaborative relationship with each child's family to foster each child's development and to ensure that their child is developing to their full potential. The Credit Union One Learning Center has an open door policy. One of the things that we are blessed is that we are on site at the headquarters building. So we have a lot of families who come down and participate in all of our events, or just to participate in the classroom. We even have families who may not have children in our facility that will come down and read to the children, participate in a volcano making eruption activity, or just to come out and have lunch with the children. We also have our families help us to participate in different community events around the community, and some of it is like our Giving Tuesdays, and then also when we do, one of our big projects was our helping our homeless. Families receive monthly newsletters from the teachers that just solicit different activities that are happening within the classroom and information they need to know. But not only that, but when they're talking with families, if there's certain subjects or information that they know that families are needing more information about, there's always a component of having additional resources for those families. A lending library is something that's come out from our parent cafes that we have. And so in our lending library, we put together these totes. And within those totes have different types of resources on child development for our families, along with activities that the parents can take home that they can do with their children. Families have a peace of mind knowing that their children are in a safe and healthy environment and are being well cared for. We've had multiple families and non-family members, because we are a big site, who have commented how great it is to see the children making special deliveries. Special deliveries are special invitations that we send out to our families and the employees of the credit union to participate in our family events that we have within the Learning Center. They've commented of how great it is to hear the children laughing and playing. How wonderful it is to have the opportunity to come down and read to the children, and visit the children, and to attend events with their children, and to help plan events. How wonderful it is to see the children grow and graduate from the program. What I can tell you is I've done a lot of graduations, and there's never a dry eye in that room, especially when we talk about children and how they learn and development, how they learn and develop, and then also have those pictures that show those children from like 12 months all the way up through 3rd grade, and just seeing them grow. We continue to see children grow even after graduating from our program. CU1 invests in a lot of family events outside of their work hours, and so it's a time for all the families, the employees to come together. As a matter of fact, right now we have one of our parents here today, Cassie McGuire, and she's going to share her and her family's experience with the credit union and the Learning Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cassie McGuire. I'm the Member Services Support Manager for Credit Union One. I'm thrilled to be here today to share with you some of my experience as a Learning Center parent. When I began my employment with Credit Union One back in 2006, I didn't have children yet, nor did I know how much of an impact the Learning Center would have on my family. While progressing through my career, my husband and I decided to build a future with children. We were blessed with 2 amazing boys, currently ages 6 and 8. One of the biggest challenges my husband and I were forced to face as new parents was finding an affordable, safe, and consistent environment for our young children while we work. This was especially stressful since daycare options were limited and lacked flexibility. As soon as our boys reached the eligible age requirements, we didn't hesitate to enroll them into the toddler program. We knew immediately that we had found a safe and affordable place that we could trust was having a positive impact on their development day in and day out. The teachers of the Learning Center have consistently provided a warm and nurturing environment that has helped our children to thrive. We are forever grateful for their compassion and willingness that they've shown us to build a strong and caring relationship with our children and our family. Communicating with us in an open manner to ensure our children were set on the right path from the very beginning, and helping to provide our boys with consistency to and from the classroom, and to ensure that each day was filled with routine and structure. It's been a wonderful feeling to know that our children were well cared for and offered an opportunity to learn and explore, engage in new experiences, develop new skills, all while having fun. Along with frequent communication and monthly newsletters, we were also provided with daily parent reports. The daily reports would provide us with little bits and pieces of what milestones they had hit that day, new words that they had used, or simple things like how long their naps were and how much they had eaten for lunch. As they grew older, these reports grew even more precious to us because they would document a story that they had told the teacher that day, a new creative thing that they did, or a new learning moment for them. The teachers always made it a point to share with us those special moments that we couldn't be present for. The program provided our family with numerous resources as our little ones age and hit different learning obstacles, such as toilet training, how to express their feelings, and transitioning into school. From reading resources to parent cafes that all covered a wide variety of discussion topics, to the teacher's suggestions on how to deal with different learning hurdles have all been invaluable. During parent-teacher conferences, we had the opportunity to reminisce as we looked through our children's portfolios that the teachers had compiled since their start into the program. The moments that were captured within these portfolios helped us as parents to feel like we didn't miss out on important milestones. They are great mementos and will be treasured forever by my family. Being a part of the Learning Center has felt like being a part of a big extended family, where the teachers show care for the children as if they were their own, where they encourage family involvement, and always make you feel welcome when you're dropping in to say hi. From sharing lunch with our kiddos, to reading in the classroom, participating in family celebrations and fun events like volcano eruptions and exploratory projects, helping with fundraisers and chaperoning on field trips, just to name a few. Allowing us to participate in these events and be involved with our children has truly been rewarding. As we watched our boys graduate from the preschool class and transition into school, we've noticed just how much of a positive impact the Learning Center has had on their development. We couldn't be more proud of how well they are doing today. Transitioning to school seems stress-free, and both have flourished through that transition. Our oldest son is testing higher in core subjects than other children his age. He is an example setter and is passionate about helping others. He has gone on to receive numerous awards and recognition, to include being Student of the Quarter 3 times within the last 3 years. Last year, during 2nd grade, he was invited to test in the Ignite program with the Anchorage School District, a program for advanced learners. This year, our son, our youngest, transitioned into kindergarten. We've already received many compliments from his new teacher into regards how advanced he seems for his age and how eager he is to learn. He is in a K-1 combination class, and she tells me that she's been giving him more challenging work since he's already following along with the first graders. She's very impressed with his manners and discipline. I feel strongly that the high quality care and reinforcement that my family has experienced through the Learning Center program has contributed to their early success in school. I feel extremely fortunate, and I thank Leslie Ellis and Credit Union 1 for offering this benefit for my family. It has significantly made my life easier and has helped us to not feel so guilty when we had to leave our children to go to work. I appreciate your time today, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Cassie, for that amazing testimony. My name is Stacy Ammerman, and I am the Human Resources Manager for Credit Union 1. I have worked for the credit union for just over 6 years. As you heard from our former CEO, Leslie Ellis, the reason that she opened the Learning Center is very near and dear to her heart. She recognized that many of the families struggled in the same way that she saw her own mother struggling when she was a child. But the difference this time was that Leslie was now in a position to help. Our Learning Center was designed to educate the young minds that would one day enter our workforce during the years in which it mattered most. Anna spoke about accreditation and the educational support that we provide to the Learning Center teachers. The opportunities for continued training as well as the career ladder have allowed us to maintain a very low turnover with our teaching staff. The average tenure of our employees in the Learning Center is 7 years. And if you've ever filled a position, trained them, only to have them turn around and leave, you know what a benefit it is to the organization to have them stick around for that long. Work-life balance has become one of the most important factors in retaining talent as well as attracting potential employees. By opening the Learning Center, we have shown them that their lives outside of the credit union matter just as much. Even when an individual does not have children, such as Cassie mentioned, they can see the value that we have placed on their lives, and then it is very obvious how important it is to us. There is one huge downside to providing such a great benefit to our employees. We cannot accommodate all of them. Because of this, the credit union chose to create a differential. This is available to our parents that are both on the wait list and living in remote communities outside of Anchorage. If they are in one of those situations, the credit union will reimburse them for a part of their education expenses for their children, as long as the child is attending a licensed childcare provider. Why do we do this? Because our employees really want their children to be able to come to our Learning Center and be in the environment in which we have created. But we also do it because it lowers their, if we didn't provide them some assistance, it would lower their ability to provide for their families, which can in turn lower their morale, their engagement, and could lower productivity, which ultimately would lead to higher expenses related to recruiting and training. The Learning Center itself is not a revenue-generating area of the credit union, but it is profitable in many other ways in which the people that come to work for us every day have shown us by continuing to show up to work and having our turnover rate throughout the entire credit union remain very low. The benefit the Learning Center provides to parents is unlike anything most will ever get an opportunity to experience. I am also a parent of a former Learning Center student, and I can honestly say that the Learning Center is why I chose to accept my position with the credit union. Knowing that I could have the ability to go down and have lunch with my daughter any day that I chose, or read her a story before nap time, be there in the moments if she got injured, all I had to do was walk down the stairs. Even our own current CEO, James Wildman, came to the credit union 10 years ago because of our Learning Center. This is often a story we hear, and this is something we get asked quite often when we are interviewing new employees to come and work for us, and we automatically tell them about the Learning Center and what a great benefit it is to our staff. We really thank you for your time and attention and allowing us to speak with you today. We really hope that by sharing our message and the things that we do for our employees, we'll hope others join us in our mission in being able to provide excellent care for the future leaders of our city. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank Deputy Commissioner Melin, Stacy, Anna, and Cassie for coming up here and sharing their stories. I particularly enjoyed the song. Many of you may have noticed I failed to follow directions. It's a lifelong issue. Okay. So I've been told the Marriott is having Wi-Fi issues, but they're working on it. So I don't know if that's been fixed yet, but there's that out there. And so right now, please, if you have questions, those white cards are on your table. I believe that Stephanie is on her way up with a couple of questions right now. And before we get into Q&A, I want to point out something that's obvious, which is, we had this discussion earlier when Trevor and Jim were up here about how you can get involved, how you can advocate. Well, one way that you can get involved and advocate is to patronize businesses that support early childhood learning, right? And this is one of those businesses. So that option is clearly out there for those of us because, your money can do a lot of talking for you. So you guys did really well because I got a pile of questions for you. So here we go. Does CU1 receive any government or public sector support for the work that it's doing in its child care center?
No, we don't. Everything that is provided by the credit union is funded by the credit union.
All right, you guys did really well because the pile was really coming up here. All right, Stacy, you mentioned that the Learning Center loses money for the credit union. How does this investment stay a priority for your business and your board?
It continues to remain a priority because we see the impact that it has in our families every day. We have employees no longer worrying about whether they can get off work on time to pick up their children from childcare. We don't have the issue of attendance. We don't have people calling out because their babysitter wasn't able to be at work that day if they were using an in-home center. So by continuing to invest in offering the option of the childcare, we see the return on the investment in the employees coming to work every single day and giving us what we need so that we can continue as a credit union and provide for our membership base.
Cassie, did your access to the little ones influence your professional decisions, perhaps to stay at CU1 longer?
Absolutely. Credit Union 1 is a great company to work for, but the benefit of the Learning Center has been one of the highest benefits that I've remained an employee. So yes, definitely.
Okay, great. How has your benefit of childcare influenced or changed the culture of your company and your employees?
So the culture of our credit union started with Leslie Ellis. And when the credit union decided to open up the benefit for the Learning Center, we had parents lining up to get their kids in the Learning Center because of it. So our culture at the credit union is a family. We want them to know that we care about them outside of work. We retain employees because of that. We have over 80% of our management staff has been at the credit union and plans to stay with the credit union for more than 10 years, which is a lot more than what a lot of organizations can say. So it has been a very positive influence in our culture, and we love being able to have the kids come back and go to family night with us. We often do that at the zoo, which is great. So we get to see all the families that aren't enrolled anymore, and it just continues to cultivate that culture of a family.
Have other businesses contacted you about starting a child care center and what would be involved?
Yes, I get emails and phone calls all the time, and I'm happy to share some of the processes that we went through in order to do that. So if there are organizations that are interested, we're happy to share it. I belong to multiple different organizations and sit on a few different boards, and so it's something that we continue to share and want other employers to be involved in as well.
Okay. Does Credit Union 1 offer employees paid maternity leave or allow employees with infants to bring their children to work or pay some kind of subsidy to assist them with infant care? I think you answered the last part during your speech, but if you could address the first part, that would be great.
So we offer a 1-week paid maternity or paternity leave. The parents can take more time off if they choose, but that is what is provided to them. They can use their sick and vacation time after that. In addition to that, upon returning from any maternity leave, we do offer reduced hours, so they can work for up to 8 weeks. They can choose to be there for only 6 hours. If they want to come back early, then that is their choice, but they can do that for at least 8 weeks to help introduce them back into work and to make it an easier transition for the family as well. As far as for infant care, we do not assist in any subsidy for the infant care or allow them to bring the children to work. The reason for that is because we are a credit union. We have people working in a branch system, and we cannot have them, they can't assist the members at the same time as caring for their baby. So.
Anna, are you aware of any plans to expand capacity or take in infants?
Not right now, I'm not aware. I know it's a topic of discussion that we get from the employees every year or so, and I know our CEO, James, takes into consideration all of the feedback that he gets from the employees.
Okay. Can the video be used to share with other businesses to educate and advocate for employee-sponsored childcare? Is the video available?
What? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Jenny says yes for the back of the room. Okay. What tips would you give to other people, other businesses wanting to replicate this model?
Find a partner. We partnered with Providence. They had the knowledge that we didn't. They were able to provide us with Anna, which is a valuable resource for us. We also work with other individuals at Providence that are not here today, but we are very grateful for their assistance in that and helping us build the program. And really just talk. If it's something that you want to do, then you have to start having the conversation, especially if you're run by a board. It's something that needs to be done.
And I will add to that too, because Margaret Bauer is here. And so she also worked for Providence, and she's one of the ones that worked with Leslie in putting together the Learning Center too.
What is the average waiting time on your waiting list?
Wow. You know, I actually don't have very many that are on my wait list. I probably have about 16 in my highest one, which is our toddler area. We do have a little bit of a longer wait list in that aspect of it. We do a multi-age group, and so typically they stay in our toddler area until they're 3 years of age. So as they move up, then I start pulling children off the wait list. For our preschool and our school age, they have a little bit of a longer wait list because, again, the retention, our families stay with us, and so we rarely have the turnover where a space becomes open until children move up into the next age group, and that's when we start pulling off. So at least a year.
Okay. So we have a couple of technical questions here about how the program works. And so there's two. It says, do employees pay any portion of the cost of enrollment if they're in the center? And there's an explanation, a request for additional detail about how it works that you support employees at other locations that don't have access to the center.
So the employees pay for a portion of their rates to come in the Learning Center. It is slightly subsidized by the credit union, so the rates that they're paying coming to our center are lower than what they would pay at other licensed learning centers throughout the city. That is done directly through payroll deduction, so the parents don't have to worry about making sure that they make the payment. We automatically take it out of their paychecks for them, so they can better budget their funds to know exactly what is going to be there and when it's coming out. And it's split out through either one check or two checks throughout the month. They get to choose how they'd like to do that, and if they need that to change, then they can do that as well. What was the second part?
The second part of the question was That's a good question, because I tossed it over here. Right? Don't toss them away quite yet, Kay. Do employees pay a portion of the cost of enrollment? And then there's the supporting employees at other parts of the, that are in other locations.
So throughout Anchorage, the parents are welcome to come and bring their kids to the Learning Center. That is why we are open from 6:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, because we have branches that have staff beginning early in the morning, and then they don't close until 7:30 at night. So they have the opportunity to still, with travel time getting to and from, we do not charge them more. So as long as they're at work, we will care for their child. They do not have any late fees. If they have to pick up their kid or they're a minute late because traffic wasn't good, we are not going to charge them for that. The differential for the individuals living outside of Anchorage, we look at what they're paying. They just have to be able to provide us proof that the child is attending a licensed child care facility. They submit us a copy of their invoice. They've given us information about the child, so we know what age group that they're in. We match it to what our rates are, and then we process those through our accounting function as a reimbursement.
So just to give you an idea, so like a toddler care for us is roughly around $800 a month for our employees. Preschool care is roughly around $600 a month, a little over $600 a month for full-time. That's full-time care for our employees. And then before or after care is roughly around $223 a month for our employees. So then the credit union subsidizes the rest.
How do employees manage that wild, wild west of the first year before they can enroll in the Learning Center?
Well, as soon as they are employed, I'll tell you, they all get on our wait list. And that's when that differential kicks in. But we also, when we have new employees, they reach out to me for different resources on, and as just expertise on different child care or home care providers. And so we are blessed to have Thread. We refer them to the referral agency to be able to help them in being able to find child care. And then the credit union, as long as they're on our wait list, they're gonna give them a differential reimbursement from what we charge, close to what they pay, so.
In total, how much financial investment ballpark does CU1 put into the child care program in any given year?
It's 400,000 a year to 500,000, yeah. Roughly about 400,000 to 500,000 a year that they invest into it.
Yeah, that's real dollars. I mean, that's, real money right there, folks. Let me see here as I go through these. So the CU1 story should be elevated and celebrated across our state. How can Thread and those at the summit promote you and promote that story?
I guess just reaching out, sharing the story. I try every opportunity I can to share about the positive impact of having the Child Care Center to everyone that I meet, whether it's at board meetings, committee meetings, at the conferences, trainings that I go to, events such as this. I use every opportune time I can to talk about the importance of early care and learning and just what Credit Union One's doing for their employees.
Okay. Are you quantifying how the center is affecting your key performance indicators, for example, staff turnover? You have an idea of those sorts of effects?
So we are looking at actually tracking that. We have not, but with the low turnover that we actually have and the staff members that work for us and watching the number of kids that graduate on a given year, we know that the parents are sticking around, but it is something we are going to begin quantifying.
Last question. Any thoughts on how we can effectively educate the world about the importance of ECE when for some people it appears the facts don't matter and experts and research are viewed with suspicion? Loaded question there.
Wow. I would say testimonies. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how all of you guys felt, but I wanted to cry when I heard Cassie talking about her experience as a parent and having that opportunity of having that early care and learning. And so I think that testimonies are very, very important when we're going out and advocating.
You handled that hand grenade really well. Good job. All right. With that, let's get our panelists a round of applause.